don't have to.
Okay.
I
Well,
just wanted, I'll tell you, if you can look at the top of my head, you can probably tell that technology ain't my thing. So we're going to try to make this as fun as possible. And I love interaction. If you've ever seen me present before, you know that. But we're going to make it fun.
okay. Do you mind if I give you a little introduction first, Beth, and
Oh
welcome
my gosh,
everybody?
please say nice things. Yeah.
Oh, of course. Well, first, I just want to welcome everybody to this. This is actually our first session for the what we call the trauma informed practical toolkit. Thank you, Katrina Jefferson, and she named it for us. And she can't be with us today. She sends her regards, Beth, but she was so hopeful to be able to be with us. But like probably many of the people that wanted to be with us can't because of power outages. I'm just glad, Beth, you got power and that I have power and that all of you that have are on us have power, I hope. But anyway, I just want to welcome everybody for the first of the 4 monthly trainings that we're going to have. Also want to welcome an additional guest to us that has not yet joined us, and that's Logan County Pride Community. I believe that's the name of us. Candace Mullins is here with us, and she's representing the grand families. This is going to be this program, because we have some extra toolkits available to do some trainings, is going to be offered to both Logan and Lincoln County grand family programs. So we want to welcome her. Um, if you will, just make sure you're on mute so we can hear Beth. I know she loves interaction. And if you do want to say, I'll let her tell you what her protocol is, because it's totally fine with me. But sometimes we pick up, barking dogs. Hey, honey, where's my coffee? Stuff like that. So just if you don't mind to go ahead and mute yourself. Now, I think we are so privileged to have Beth to give us some training today. And I have a bio on Beth. And if you don't know Beth Mullins, I did or didn't know Beth. We haven't quite figured that out yet. We think we met at some point. I know I met her husband, Robert Noon, and you maybe have heard of him. He's an adoption attorney and lives in Logan County. And I think he and I were sitting together in a conference. They also live in Alabama. That's what kind of made me think of him, because I don't know many people who live in Logan and Alabama. So that was a little bit unusual. So anyway, to me, but I'm so glad we've got Beth here, and I'm glad Alabama has her too. But let me just read it to you. And I hate to read things, but I don't want you to miss all the credentials that she has. And she probably doesn't like it that I'm doing this, but I think it's real important that you understand who we have here. So I'm going to go ahead and read that. Beth Mullins Hughes is a licensed independent clinical social worker in Alabama and West Virginia, registered play therapist supervisor, and certified trauma therapist who specializes in the treatment of traumatized children and their families. She provides clinical supervision and consultation to mental health practitioners and presents trainings to groups ranging from foster care parents, small groups, to state Supreme Court conferences. Beth is certified by the Association for Play Therapy as an approved provider of play therapy continuing education. She maintains a full time private practice in Logan, West Virginia. She has established West Virginia Power of Play Therapy, LLC, and uses a mobile play therapy bus in southern West Virginia to teach and credential other mental health practitioners in how to incorporate play therapy in their practices with children and teens. She also uses the play therapy bus to treat traumatized children in Mingo, Mercer, McDowell, and Boone counties. Beth uses the power of our first language, which is play, through play therapy in sessions with children who are often too scared to talk with words. She lives in Logan, West Virginia, with her husband, Robert Noon, who is an adoption attorney and champion of the rights of children for over 35 years. Yay! They have one very special dog, Big Love, who serves children as a therapy dog. Beth is the mother of 2 adult sons and a grandmother. There he is. There's Big Love, and the grandmother of 2 grandsons. I want to thank Emily Hill. She is from Logan County, and she told Beth about what we were doing, and Beth agreed to come. So a big shout out to Emily Hill for making that connection. So, Beth, it's all yours.
Okay, and am I able to share my screen?
Oh, I will do that.
I want to be able to do that if I could.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Hi, everybody.
I'm new at this, so.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Hope everybody can hear me okay. If not, or if you have a problem, Francis, do they have a way to text you, or are you communicating?
Yes.
Okay.
There's some chat here. So if you have any difficulty, just let me know through the chat and I'll keep up with that.
Further question.
Thank you. And Francis, if they have questions, maybe you can funnel them through me, to me. Okay.
We'll do that.
I just want to welcome everybody to West Virginia Power Play Therapy. This is a place of healing for sexually abused, emotionally abused, physically abused young children. And I think we all have that in common, that we are working with some very fragile, very short human beings that come through the doors of your school. And I have a great love of educators, and I have a great fear as well, because I am not one, and I know you are, and I know you can teach me so many things. But I'm hoping to teach you today a little bit about how to use that toolkit you got. Okay. But before we go there, I want to explain to you that I'm a very specialized type of therapist. I work almost exclusively with dissociative children. And I don't know in your educational backgrounds how much you've learned about the brain and trauma, and the developing brain, and how trauma kind of splits that young mind into several parts. And so we're going to talk about that. I want to tell y'all something. When I decided to be a social worker, I went in it to help the uninsured elderly population. I did not want to work with children. And as a matter of fact, when I got to graduate school, I made the declaration, I will never work with kids. Okay. So I just want you to take a look around me right now and guess who I work with. So I really changed my mind about that. And the reason is I thought this might be the way I don't get burned out working with children, because the brain is so plastic. And we have this whole concept now of epigenetics. And so what we know about the developing brain of a child is that there's certain genes that we have that kind of predispose us to social engagement, to make us good at this, or maybe not so engaged socially. All right. So what we've learned is positive interactions, what you're doing at the school, what you're doing in the lunchroom when we're all in school. I'm going to talk like COVID doesn't exist for a few minutes, okay? Stretch your imagination back to when we were together. That lunchroom lady who looks at a child and might sense that she's hungry and might put a few dollops more of that child's favorite food on that tray, okay? That is a positive interaction that some children will tell me. I can't tell you how many times I hear this from traumatized children I work with. It's the lunchroom lady, or it's my bus driver, or it's my school counselor, or it's my English teacher, or if I hadn't had that person, I would not have made it through this, okay? And so we're going to kind of go back to the basics of attachment first. I'm going to show you a video that I think most of you all might have seen in school when you were in undergraduate or graduate school. And that may have been a long time ago for some of you. But I want to show you this video And then I want to talk to you about it on the other side. So if you'll give us just a second, we're going to get this video on the screen for you. So just be patient with us for 1 second, okay? Bob, you can't see him right now, but my husband, Bob Noon, is extremely handsome guy. And I don't want you to see him because Bonnie Raitt said, don't go bragging about your man. So you can't see Bob, but if you did, you just fall in love. Well, maybe at a certain age you would. And he's actually queuing up this video right now, and I may have to help him. So I want to introduce Tessa. Tessa, come here and sit in this hot seat right here. This is my student intern, Tessa, from the West Virginia University, about to graduate and get out of this internship, God love her.
So
Okay, so I don't know why we're here.
I'm trying to find, you didn't have the video queued up, so I just need to queue it up and get back to the other place.
If I X this.
And go back into Zoom also.
Babies this young.
No stop.
Okay. Tessa, tell them about West Virginia University. They may not know.
Well, I'm on the online part of it even before COVID, so it's been a mess from the get-go, and I just can't wait to be done.
Now, if you pull up the Zoom.
Tell them about the bus. They don't know about the
Babies
bus.
this young.
So the bus is amazing. It's like the playroom in here on wheels, and the kids love it. There's a kitchen just like this one. There's a place to play in the sand, like the sand tray, and it's really amazing.
And what have been some things you've seen on the bus that have you sit right there, darling, because you know you're gonna be me one day, right?
Oh,
So what are some things you've seen on the bus that have been
Hold that pose. I'm going to do it because
shocking? Have you seen some shocking things?
Oh, yeah.
We've uncovered a lot on that bus, haven't we?
Mhm.
Do you have it, Robert Thomas?
yes, I'm sorry we didn't get our link until now. So don't
I
shoot the
know,
messenger.
we're nobody.
Do not
shooting.
shoot
We
the
don't have a
messenger.
gun. Yes, I do have a gun in here. I gotta plug it up. Okay,
Okay, this is it. So hopefully
this is what makes the teachers mad.
make sure they know they can,
They're
if they
mad
can hear
now.
the sound, because I don't know if
Let us know if
they'll-
you can hear it, guys.
Babies this young are extremely responsive.
Okay, I'm going to stop.
The emotions
Yep.
and the reactivity and the social interaction that they
And
get
Francis,
from
if you can hear it, raise your thumb, sir.
This is something that we
I
started
can't see
studying
anything, honey. so-
Okay.
34
Well, then-
years ago, when people didn't think that infants could engage in social interaction. And the still face experiment what the mother did was she sits down and she's playing with her baby who's about a year of age. And she gives a greeting to the baby gives a greeting back to her. This baby starts pointing at different places in the world, and the mother's trying to engage her and play with her. They're working to coordinate their emotions and their intentions, what they want to do in the world. And that's really what the baby is used to. And then
Do we
we
hear?
ask the mother to not respond to the baby. The baby very quickly picks up on this. And then she uses all of her abilities to try and get the mother back. She smiles at the mother. She points because she's used to the mother looking where she points. The baby puts both hands up in front of her, says, "What's happening?"
Now, do you know what to do?
I'll figure it
She
out.
makes that
Just
screechy sound at the mother, like, "Come on, why aren't we doing this?" Even in this 2 minutes, when they don't get the normal reaction, they react with negative emotions. They turn away. They feel the stress of it. They actually may lose control of their posture because of the stress that they're experiencing.
And what do you do? Oh, yes. Oh,
the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good is that normal stuff that goes on that we all do with our kids. The bad is when something bad happens, but the infant can overcome it. After all, when you stop the still face, the mother and the baby start to play again. The ugly is when you don't give the child any chance to get back to the good. There's no reparation, and they're stuck in that really ugly situation.
All right, so I'm guessing I'm back on camera. I'm going to act like I am. It would be at this part of the presentation that I would ask you guys to share with me your thoughts and feelings about what you just saw. But our time is limited and we are not sure we can do that. So it might be something if you want a video chat about, we could share it that way. But the reason I wanted you to see this is because we are dealing with these children every day. And I sent out an email after Francis asked me to do this today. And I sent out an email to all of you saying what kind of things walk into your offices or what kind of things are you dealing with in a classroom. And what I got back was really serious things. I got back suicide, divorce, suicidal ideation, divorce, mega anxiety. And so I know we just had our Valentine's Day, and I hope everybody had a chance to celebrate Valentine's with your, cat and on up. But I'm going to be like the Debbie Downer Valentine's Day right now, because I'm going to talk to you about the core issue of rejection and what rejection is in a child like the one you just saw. If that mother had persisted in ignoring that child, did you see her little body dysregulation when she stopped at connecting with her? Did you see this high-pitched scream and the ew and the point and then the turning away herself? She modeled that behavior, didn't she? That little girl, I think she was under 1, and that was a long time ago, but she modeled that behavior of turning away. And what the point I'm trying to get to is our kids that we work with are they don't come from just one trauma. They come from a persistent state of trauma. And so when you look at that little toolkit, you might say, what in the world am I supposed to do with this? I mean, I got suicide. I got terrible divorce. I've got anxiety walking through the door. I've got kids who can't attend in classroom at all. I've got bullying on the playground. What's that little kit going to do for me? So that's what we're here for today. So I'm going to talk to you about the brain. And y'all, I'm going to tell you something. When I was in graduate school, and then they talked about the brain, and I'm like, I don't know how this applies to me. I just don't really know how this applies to me. So, I just go into days, and I would just sit there and like somebody wake me up when it's over. And it was after I started actually practicing that I realized how important this is. So I'm going to tell you about the part of the brain that I primarily deal with trauma cases in here, and you're dealing with it at school. And that is, we have a right brain and we got a left brain. I've got okay, yeah, got a picture of it here. Pretty much how we experience the world. All right, Vanna White, I'm gonna let you hold that up for me for just a second. How we experience the world. And, when we're dealing with little kids, that right brain is really kicked in, and that's where we're getting a lot of our emotional understanding of the world. And the left brain's the executive functioning of the brain, and that's our logic, our planning, our, what to do with things. Okay, so we've got a way of reading the world, and then we got a way of producing in the world. But up here at the top, if you think about the top of your brain, I'm gonna put this down. Thank you, Vanna White. Thank you. When we talk about the top of the brain that connects the right and the left hemisphere, there's this little gizmo called the corpus callosum. Okay. And I'm going to tell you why this is important in your world, if you don't already know. That's the information highway that allows the right brain and the left brain to communicate. Okay. So I want you to remember your little ones, especially your little bitty ones, that right brain is developed and enforced, and it is doing most of the talking. As they get a little bit older, the left brain kicks in and says, it can kind of allow that, I understand I'm in this situation, but I think I know how to handle it type thing. Okay. And all of that's taking place on this corpus callosum, about the size of a little Band-Aid that connects those two hemispheres. The problem with trauma is it breaks that corpus callosum down. So we're going to get a child stuck in the right brain or the left brain. And here, let me give you an example of that. This is how that would look. And you may see it in your classroom. I was getting ready for you guys. I was getting ready to think, how am I going to talk to you about the toolkit, and how I'm going to bring in, what you're seeing, and how I'm going to do it. And, I said, my left brain started listing the problems. The problem is I hate Zoom. I hate technology in general. I love being with people. Okay. I'm a little nervous about teachers because they know how to do this so professionally and I don't. I'm making a list of how this is going to go wrong. I'm going to oversleep. I'm going to stink. All these things are okay. So here's what happens. My right brain kicked in and said, oh, wait a minute, Beth. Wait a minute, Beth. If you're genuine and you're thoughtful and you're giving these folks something they can use, whether you stink at videos and all that stuff or not, it's all going to be okay, because I'm hoping and praying everybody can take away something. But if you can't, maybe one day we can meet together in a group, Francis, and we can get in the same room and we can be in the playroom together. I got a big training center upstairs, and I can just throw toys out and we can just play all day and ask questions and interact, and I can learn from you. So maybe that day's coming. You see how my right brain kicked in? You see how that happened? Say, calm down, Beth. Self-regulate, Beth. Sit in your seat, honey. Don't run. Don't ignore Francis's phone calls. Just hang in there. Do it. Do it. Persevere. Do it. Our kids may not have that ability because of that broken corpus callosum of all the trauma they've been through, persistent state of trauma. Now, if I've only had one trauma, I walk out here and let's say somebody kidnaps me and rapes me, all right? And I survived it. And I know I would get home to a husband. I'm not letting y'all look at him because he's too cute. But I would get home to a husband who would say, honey, everything's going to be okay. I love you all the same, even more. You're such a survivor. We're going to get through this together. How many of our kids have that? How many of them have that? So the only place they're really getting it for a lot of us is in school. So I'm worried sick about not being in school because I rely on you to make reports, to get the kids in my door. I need your reports. I need your gut instincts on what's happening with the kid. Are they in danger? And when they're at home all the time, I know it probably keeps a lot of y'all up at night as it does me. So we're going to talk about the toolkit and understand the enormity of its usefulness, okay? So what I'm telling you about this corpus callosum and how this brain doesn't communicate properly, what happens to us in trauma is we develop parts of our personality that learn to survive. With little kids, I call it our policeman and our firefighter parts. And we're going to focus on rejection today, because rejection is the sense of I am not lovable. And many of our children walk around with that sense. So what I want us to consider is that there's three main ways that we respond to rejection, okay? The first way is it can make us angry. It can make us very angry, and we're going to react in anger. That's the first way. And I'm going to tell you the third way, and we'll say the second one, okay? On the other end of that anger is we are not going to, we're going to internalize it, but we're not going to show it. So we're going to, on one end, we're going to be angry, some of our kids, and you know who they are because they're going to show up in your office, right? They've exploded. They're angry. At the core, that's going to be rejection somewhere. And I want us to always remember. So the third one is we're going to internalize it. We're going to get a self-critic. We're going to be our own worst enemy, and we're going to say something is wrong with me, and it is my fault that my parents got divorced. It is my fault that my mother is addicted, or it is my fault that my family got taken away by DHHR. So we're going to internalize it. The second one is where it lives, okay? The second one is we're going to be assertive. So if you think about the anger, and then you think about the internalization, where we're going for in the middle with this toolkit is going to be teaching a child to be assertive. All right. So in your toolkit, you have things, and my most favorite thing in your toolkit is that bottle that can shake and it makes a little slush noise. I love that it's making noise because when we're doing that, we're engaging both sides of the brain. We're strengthening that corpus callosum. Now, what if you had that bottle and you have a child that is internalizing? Now, I'm going to tell you something. When it comes to suicide in children, it's usually not those fit pitchers that are going to kill themselves, okay? It's not that angry, boisterous. They're getting stuff out. Now, we may not know where it's coming from. We may not know where it's directed to. By God, they're getting it out. It's that internalizer that worries the stew out of me. That one has that facade. That one that internalizes is this facade, making it like everything's okay and I've got this under control, but inside, internally, they're a mess. And those are understand dissociative behaviors in the classroom that might help unearth those internalizers. And then we teach them some assertiveness and how to stop being a self-critic, how to start saying affirmations about themselves. Tess, would you hand me the affirmation web? It may be on my desk, honey.
Hey, Beth, I think we've lost you.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, but you're freezing. You're coming in and out.
Okay.
Thanks, Suddenlink.
Thank you, Suddenlink.
Okay,
What you want to do, Francis?
you're good.
I'm texting you if you want to text me.
Okay.
Oh, you can see me?
Yes.
Am I frozen or I am frozen? Okay.
Going in and out.
I rebooted it.
Okay, you're frozen now.
This happens on mine. Thames with sunlight here.
Is there a part of the building we can get in that it's better?
I could maybe try direct wiring it upstairs, but same sunlight.
I just didn't know. You told me there was places.
Hey, Beth, you're doing okay now. Can you hear me?
Okay, I hear you. Can you
Okay.
hear me?
I can. I'll just
Okay.
let you know, and I'll try to text you. I don't know if you should reboot because that might take a little bit, but you're okay right now. But you're frozen now. Okay. For everybody else, I'm texting Beth and telling her she may want to reboot. So we'll just hang in there for just a little bit.
Okay.
Okay. Don't we love technology? Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. While we're waiting for her to see if she can reboot, I hope you're taking some good notes. Autumn Williamson, my GA, she's also taking some notes on this, and we'll have the notes together. We're also recording this, so we might have to watch it again, fragmented. And if you have any questions at all, just, shoot it to me in the chat. So this is what we have to deal with, but we're not going to let it get into our trauma brain, are we, guys? We're going to relax and do our deep breathing and maybe take our calming bottle and shake it a little bit and watch it while we calm down and while Beth gets things back together. But so I think she's in the process of rebooting. Thank you guys for hanging in there. I see you're still all there with me, and
Can you hear us?
Hello, hello.
yes, I can. Sorry, my phone was ringing, my house phone, and I turned my mute on. Yes, we can hear you now. And we can, oh, you're just a little frozen. Okay. All right, I see you, Beth.
Am I moving?
Yes, you are moving.
All right, thanks, guys. Thank you. Okay, so picking up where we left off with your, what do you call that, Francis? That feeling jar or feeling bottle?
It's called a calming bottle.
Calming bottle's a better name.
Yeah, sensory
Okay.
bottles, calming bottles. Yeah. You're frozen again. Okay, you're not frozen.
Oh, good, good. Francis, if I am, please text me because I've got the phone right in front of me, okay?
You're frozen and I'm ready to send it when you get frozen.
Thank you, darling. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, so the calming bottle, what that does, it grounds a child back into reality. So if you think about dissociation as a separation momentarily from reality, that bottle hello, hello. Maybe now.
You're not frozen now.
Okay. All right. Talk about dissociation. I think I may be suffering with it right now. but anyway, when a child gets that glazed over feeling, especially look, and especially this is going to be our avoidant children that we're trying to learn more about and reach in and get them. They are zoned out. So what's happened is maybe something to a dissociative state. And for our avoidance, it's going to be in Mr. Freeze, in our Mr. Freeze. Remember Mr. Freeze from Batman? So basically, and see, I don't even know if her texts are coming through. I hope I'm on, but basically, that bottle is appealing to visual, the hearing, um, and it is calming. And it's also cool to help kids make a bottle like that. And it goes great with this book.
Oh, gracious. Um,
Wish you did have in your calming bottle, I mean your toolkit, and that's going to be a ball of yarn. Now this is a magic thing. When I have children who are suffering with dissociative behaviors, and they're feeling that they're somehow in control of everything, and a lot of times we're dealing with these distortions of thought, okay, and we're trying to get a child back to reality. Puppets you guys have, okay? Maybe that would help in your circle. And then what we're going for is the child opening the circle up to allow you in, and maybe a couple of pillows, and we can start getting our relaxation back and feeling that sense of help back. So I love a ball of yarn that I might throw in your toolkit if I could do it again. With dissociative children, you have you're trying to appeal to a lot of different.
for everybody on here, I'm texting Beth to let her know she's frozen, and I did send that chat message.
Are we okay?
you're on now, but you keep going in and out. And I did have a message. I don't know if you saw that, that one of
I
our
don't think,
participants said that she hooked her laptop directly into the router to have good service. So I don't know if
okay,
that would be helpful or not.
okay.
So
Well, yeah, that's possible. We just have to go upstairs, which will take us like 2 minutes. Wanna do
okay.
it?
So if everybody's pretty good with just hanging in there for just a second, we'll try it. Beth, I don't know, you're frozen again. Uh, if we want to reschedule this too, but we definitely can do that. Hey, okay. Well, okay, everybody. I just talked with Beth, and we're gonna try to do the reboot through the router. I think try to hook up. She had to go upstairs to do that. And if you want to hang on there for about 5 more minutes, she has until about 10 after 10 to be with us. So if you guys will just kind of let me know what you think about that in the chat, that would be good. Okay, looks like we've got somebody here. So we got him going. So we can't hear him though. But that's her husband. Let me unmute him. Unmute Bob. Okay.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, there he
Okay,
is.
well, welcome. I have very short cord, but you're in the one of the conference rooms upstairs, because we do everything by Wi-Fi, and Suddenlink. I apologize. Suddenlink has been stinky link this week, and I do so many hearings, adoption hearings all over the state by video, and it's touch and go. You always have to have your cell phone handy to switch to, and cell phones have been undependable here. So anyway, if I could, I'm going to move a table over. We don't have a very big don't have very much space here. If I would have known, I would have known.
Well, now we know. So
Okay, can everybody hear me?
I think I don't have any chats, but if you can hear her, let me know.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, well, I'm gonna assume everybody else can too, if they're still with.
All right, thank you so much, Beth. And there's a consensus. Everybody has stayed on. So this
Oh, wow.
is really important.
Yay!
I think you all
Okay.
free one here.
Okay. Bob said that when we can gather safely, we're gonna invite all you guys up to the Training Institute and do this better, okay?
Afternoon of this.
Yeah, and serve
We throw in lunch?
refreshments.
Yes.
All right. So when you use the items in your toolbox, like your Play-Doh, you're working that right brain, left brain, and strengthening that corpus callosum. You know that construction paper you guys have? When a child is upset, and especially your kids who are internalizing, let them scrunch that construction paper up just as hard as they can. And then as we breathe and we slowly unwrap the paper and we start teaching a child what to tell themselves about themselves. Did y'all see that movie, The Help? Remember that movie, The Help? You is important, you is kind, you is smart. Those are things that I want the child to repeat after you, okay? I am beautiful, as they're doing. I am thoughtful. I am kind. I am loved. I am, and if you need help with affirmations, there's a great book called The Affirmation Web. It's a little paperback book that you can get on Amazon. I've probably, over my career, bought about 30 of these and given them away to help your families teach how to talk to that inner critic, that, how to remind yourself that you are good. Remember, our children are suffering with such rejection. They've had drugs picked over them, and they think it's their fault. So we're dealing with some mighty high crimes and misdemeanors of trauma. So that piece of paper, you might think, well, what am I going to do with that? But that sensation of spreading it out with your hands and slowing down that breathing. I know Katrina talked to you guys a lot about breathing. And one thing I like to do with children is breathe in for 4 seconds. And then as you exhale, you say things about yourself that you like or you would like to like about yourself. So and that's a good thing for us to practice together, in your own groups, in your own schools, to practice that together, because we need to stop and breathe too, because we're getting our daily dose of secondary trauma, secondary stress from the kids we work with. So slowing down and doing that together, I think is a real good thing to do. And then once you make that a practice in your life, it's easy to teach it to the kiddos that we work with. Something cool you can do in groups too. And a lot of teachers will ask me about groups and trauma. And what I always tell them is I like to see the group more about anger. And through the anger, we're able to reach in for that rejection and maybe deal with that a little bit more. So we can get in the back door. But until we address that rejection, that sense of rejection that we all walk around with, okay, we can't avoid it in life. But the kid who fears it so badly that would rather be dead than to ever have it happen to them again, those are the children that we're going to see walking through our doors. So it's really good to, I think, have small groups as you can. I don't know about your system and what you can do there, but have those small groups and really listen to children and help them, give them some tools. Now, one thing I like to give children is, we talked about that anger end of a response to rejection. And then we talked about the internalization end as a response to rejection. Well, in the middle was that, what was it, Tessa? That assertiveness, yeah. Right? So when we train assertiveness, I like for kids to give me a stance. And I'm gonna, excuse me, tilt it back just a little bit, thank you. So I might say, let me see your power stance, all right? And kids might go, or they might go, and I'll say, let me see your courage stance. And so I'm trying to teach them to do things with their body that instead of acting out physically onto someone else, that they can do with their own body. All right. So, you know, you think about what you want in assertiveness, which is a wonderful resource for kids. How do we channel that into something positive? You know, and let's say a child gets sent to your, the teacher, you know, says, you got to do something with Johnny. He's disrupting class, and he's, you know, and a lot of times when that kid walks with you down the hall and into your office, that child has been asked a whole slew of trauma uninformed questions. All right. And the question, an uninformed trauma question would be like, what's wrong with you? Why are you acting like that? Why are you always seeking attention? Well, okay, we're talking to a brain that don't work in this kid. Okay, that's a part of the brain that is not engaged. It is offline, like I've been frozen in, Lord, I don't even know, but it's been offline. And so when we get the child, what do? We don't want to continue those questions. But, you know, I might say to a child, what has been the hardest part of your day so far? I might, and that's kind of a rejection reaching question. I'm not saying, how do you feel? Because they normally don't know. All right. But if I say, what's been the hardest part of your day? Or what was the thing that just you couldn't take anymore? You know, we all have days like that. So really reaching into that part of the brain that is online, and helping that child get more attuned. So I think our initial interactions with children when we get them alone in an office to talk about what's going on with them is not to criticize them, because I promise you these kids are having so much inner critic talk already. And your angry kids are going to project that onto other children, and a teacher, and you, and me. So really watching that. So when you're doing you're talking about a child, and they're talking about a teacher maybe, or a student that's all bad. This kid just drives me up the wall. That teacher's so mean to me. That teacher, you know, does such mean things to me. Well, we need to know what it is about that teacher that child sees, because the child is looking through very distorted glasses. Oh, are we okay? Hello.
Yeah, we're good. I hear some things in the background, but
Okay. So I tell you, I feel like I should go on Jeopardy, because it's like Jeopardy would be more fun if, like, you're doing something and you're answering questions and it distracts you.
Yeah.
And then you have to come back to it. So I'm sorry, guys. So anyway, when you're doing this right brain, left brain calisthenics, those puppets that you have, okay, let's take that for example. Those puppets allow you to let that angry or internalized child speak on their hand, all right? And then you can get a puppet on your hand and ask the puppet what it is you need right now. What would be the best thing? And for small children, I might say, you've forgotten to say kind things about yourself. I can think of some kind things about you. Or you know, so we start having this dialogue between the traumatized part of the child, and your puppet is going to be more of the centered, self-regulated part of the child. Okay, and you're going to model that for the child. So you're teaching the child, hey, I have a true self. And, you know, we're constantly reminding children of the importance of their true self. What is great about you? You know, what is What is your thing? What do you feel so good about yourself? What is that? We help them cultivate that, because many times in their homes, they're not getting that. They're just getting, you're a jerk, or you're a, I wish I'd never had you, or whatever. So we're really in a position to make a difference there. And you may think, well, what can I do? I'm a counselor at a school, and I only see this kid for maybe 5 minutes. What can I possibly do? And if you feel that way, I'd love for you to read the book, Resilient Adult. Resilient Adult. And I'd love for you to hear story after story after story of people who had that one exchange, or that one little nugget of positive, unconditional positive regard that they received, and how that carried them through so much. So I want you guys to remember, you are working with a damaged brain in a child, and it was damaged by trauma, and it was severed. It has a severed corpus callosum. And so that right brain, that left brain aren't speaking. And you're going to have to go back and build some things. And it sounds monumental, but it starts with one little positive social interaction. And that toolkit you have is designed to engage both sides of that kid's brain. So the Play-Doh and everything else in that is going to be that's something that you can engage senses. Now, let's say you don't have a toolkit handy, and you've got a child who is, has maybe at 10,000 feet, and you think they're going to 30,000 feet quickly. Okay. They're really getting escalated. Something happened, and they're really getting escalated. I like going to the bathroom and cold water on the face. They do it themselves. I like a child, I might say, oh, wow, you got so much energy right now. What do you need to do with that? It's got to go somewhere. It's got to get out of your body. Because remember, when we react to rejection, where do we feel it? In our bodies. Okay, so I might have the kid run in place, or we might walk up and down the stairs a couple of times together as we start getting more self-regulated. Another important thing I want you to remember about yourselves is that you are a beacon to teach self-regulation by doing it yourself. Okay, so I know we talk about mindfulness a lot. There are a lot of books. I love bibliotherapy, but there are a lot of books. This one, A Boy and a Turtle, is a great one. It's a children's relaxation story, and it really takes a child through mindfulness as he uses colors to colors of the rainbow to go down his levels of his body. And we can imagine that. So, if you think, oh, I'm not good at mindfulness, or I'm not good at guided imagery, or maybe the school doesn't want you to use those things, which is, yes, that's fine. But this book is a way around that. These kinds of books, you are teaching a child how powerful they are in getting control of their own selves. And once a child gets that, they really start to be very proud of that. And let's don't miss a chance to compliment a child. I remember a month ago when this would have happened. Oh my goodness, Miss Smith would have sent you to the office. You would have sat there and gotten angrier and angrier and angrier. But I noticed something. You were able to calm yourself down in the classroom, and I'm like, boom, proud of you. Okay, those are very, very, very crucial parts of this unconditional positive regard and teaching a child self-regulation. I saw you self-manage, and I'm impressed by that. And how did that make you feel? I got the opportunity to take Ivy to Harts, West Virginia on Saturday. And I saw a little boy I've been seeing for a while. His mother has been parental rights severed. Okay. He has a father in another state. They're thinking about reunification with the father, but I don't know that he's ever really been around this father. This child has been socially neglected as well as physically neglected, and he's been sexually abused. Okay. And so when I met him, he was like, I kind of described him as a feral cat. He had no boundaries. He was boundaryless. But I noticed in his play, he would take great pride in hiding things from me, and I would act like I couldn't find them. And he would take great pride in he was a good hider. Well, of course, as a play therapist, I'm taking that you're good at hiding your vulnerability. He was really good at showing that anger, terrible at endorsing any vulnerable feelings. And if we have a little one like that, this kid's 5, and if we have a little kid like that who can't settle with any vulnerability, we're going to have a lot of behavior problems. So when I would play a game with him, and I would say, tell me something that scares you. Nothing. I'm not scared of nothing. Well, that's pretty wise, that fire protector part of him that protects him, because if he shows vulnerability, he just might die in his world, in his little 5-year-old world. So I'm like, okay, I can go with that. But I will share what I'm scared of snakes, or I'm scared of a, getting hit by lightning or whatever, you're genuinely scared of. And so we start to model that for a child, just in little indirect ways. And so we're building that scaffolding back to, you can trust me to share vulnerability because I'm sharing mine with you in an authentic way. All right. So last Saturday, this kid gets on the bus, and I said, he's playing and his speech is better. He had terrible speech impediment. This was a kid, let me back up. He was floating from foster home to foster home to foster home. And he could not maintain a foster home because he would flood the toilets. He'd pee all over everything, smearing poop, doing everything he could possibly do to say, reject me because I know you're going to. So let's go ahead and get it over with. Well, he's dragging his little sister along with him, right? So she's going to foster home. So I finally said, Logan County, please, for the love of God, put them in a house that they're the only kids. I need full throttle love and attention with them. And you're going to think I'm crazy, but I said, I'd really like you to put them with parents who never had kids before, because they have no expectation. There are well-seasoned parents. We know how the kid's supposed to act, right? Because we raised them and we know. So I love getting the ones I'm honest with them. I said, this is going to be bad. This is going to be very bad, but we're going to work through it. And you're going to start to see the progress. So don't lie to them. I let them know, just put your good stuff up because it's going to get peed on. Okay. So put your good stuff up so we don't have this problem. Well, this little boy I think I floated back to Logan on Ivy. I don't know that the tires on the bus stopped on the ground at all, because do you know he's speaking clearly and he can be understood, and he's able to talk about his vulnerability, and he's able to take pride in. I said his little name, which is Precious, and I said, you know what I hear about you? I hear about when you get angry that you're not hitting your sister anymore. I'm hearing that when you get angry, you're stomping your feet like we talked about. And I'm hearing when you start to get angry, you're running in the bathroom and you're splashing water on your face to calm yourself down. And, I see that corpus callosum connecting, and I see that right brain and left brain communicating. And he is saying affirmations about himself. So what I'm saying is, I need your help. I need your help to make interventions immediately. I need you to see dissociative behaviors, and I need you to understand what they are when you see them. And then I need to get that kid here. Now, we're a training facility, so I have interns. I've just hired another therapist, but I work with therapists who are school counselors, or anyone who is doing trauma work in any capacity, you are welcome to come here and train for free. You are welcome to call me or contact me at bethhughes.org. And we could be in person where I will not freeze up. And I can bring the bus to your school and I can park it, and you can bring a child you're having to deal with maybe on some of these issues I'm talking to you about, and we can get on the bus with that kiddo together, and I can model some things for you that you can then take back into your school. And I know some of you work in several schools, you're all over the place, right? So that's why we got this baby on wheels. So it's not a cost. The goal is to get people more trauma informed, to get you more trained, to handle these situations if you need it. Some of you are doing, you don't need training, you don't need, I get that, but I link up with people on every leg of their journey. So I've got the graduate school interns, and I've got PhDs that are teaching in college, and and I have everything in between. So if this could be of use to you, I want to encourage you to enjoy your work. I want to encourage you to love your kids. And I want to encourage you to go back to that video that you saw, hope you saw, the still face experiment. And I want you to remember, we're working with older versions of that baby, that dysregulated baby in that chair. That's who we're working with. So I would love to interact with you and ask for questions, and I would love to have had more connection with you today. And the fact that we had a sorry video connection just is like, I don't know. I'm bummed about that. But Frances, I'm going to turn this back over to you, and please thank your group for me. Okay.
Oh gosh, thank you, Beth. I tell you what, I mean, you brought me to tears because I have such a heart for kids,
I know.
and this is great. I did have one question too. Well, I have lots of questions, and I know you probably need to get going, but does your bus just serve Logan County, or does it reach out of anywhere else? And because we have Lincoln County also.
Yeah. Yeah. I was in Lincoln County. I was in Hearts, Lincoln Hearts, Lincoln, on Saturday. I'll go wherever. I will go wherever. And a big reason I've hired this new therapist, and she is awesome. Awesome. I can't wait to make the public announcement about it. That's going to free me up to hit the road and do what I want to get done before I retire. And that is to help people in their line of work, if I can possibly be a help, working with play therapy with traumatized children. So we got a method to our madness. So yes, ma'am, we'll go wherever. I've been in McDowell County working too. So.
Okay. Well, I'm hoping this is going to reach out to some more counties. This is a grant. We do get another year of it, so we've got potential to reach out some more. But I would love to do a live one. I think it's funny that this whole fiasco with this presentation kind of helped us understand the brain and trauma, and how that all this, but yet you were still resilient to keep on going, and how that worked. But we have those skills and our kids don't have those skills. So gosh, Beth, I can't tell you. I hope we do have a recording, if I can figure out how to access that. My Zoom skills are so limited, but I'm learning how to do that. But we do have more training this year, and Katrina has agreed to come for one of our monthly trainings. And if you need to get going, I want to talk a little bit more to who's on here just for
Sure.
But yay, everybody.
Yay, y'all. Thanks for hanging with me, guys.
We will be in touch. I've already been asked to send your contact information, which I will do that.
Please do. Thanks, everybody.
Stay safe. Okay. All right.
Button down at the bottom.
I think she's going to maybe leave us here in a minute. just everybody else, just a couple announcements that I have, and I am looking in the chat box just to see what some of your comments were. Just make a note. Make sure you keep a log of the students that you've seen when you use the tools on the toolkit. In the toolkit, I will be sending notes from this presentation. My GA Autumn, she's taken notes of all this, and we're going to try to sum some stuff up for you because it was a little difficult there. And also with Katrina's information, I plan to do these trainings on the third Wednesday of every month. So March, I think it would be maybe March the 17th again. I'll look at that and we'll do it then. And then I think that's it. If anybody, if you want to unmute yourself, if anybody wants to have any comments, I'm here for however long you all want me to be here, and any kind of discussion about anything right now, just please feel free to unmute and ask some questions or any comments. Anybody? Okay. Well, thanks again for hanging in there and being with us today. You guys stay safe, stay warm. I hope you all have power, and I hope this passes by. Looks like next week it's not going to be quite as challenging weather-wise. Text me any information you might need, and I'm here to help serve you. Thank you, Candace Mullins, for joining with us. We look forward to partnering with the Grand Families program there in Logan County. So you guys stay safe, and I'm going to end this and have a great rest of your week. Bye.